I've always told myself that one of the best principles to live your life by is to be honest and to be true to yourself and everybody around you. So I'm going to be the first person to come out here on this video in front of thousands of people to tell you that I was wrong. I bought the dip yesterday. The market continued to dump. I got hundreds of thousands of dollars of losses. And although I was wrong, and I'm a man, and I'm telling it to you guys on the internet, random people I don't know, I want to come out here and also say, I have officially bought the dip again. Because what else is there to buy? And that's honest. Keep watching. What's going on, everybody? Alex back with another video, and today is a very special episode. Today, I'm gonna dive deeper than I usually do because it's very important right now. We have to see where the direction of the market is going. I'm making purchases I already have. I'm going to show you the altcoins that are on my watch list, and I'm going to show you the ones I've already purchased. And if the market dips continuously, I'll probably buy a lot more. Now, if you remember my last video, I said I was about 95% in. Well, I found a way to find some more money, not a lot. I would say that I'm like 105% in. I took a little bit from my savings, but I also found another way that anyone could do. Anyone, towards the end of the video, I'll do a very brief tutorial, because I know a lot of people are going to try to do something crazy like this. Although it's crazy, I think I know what I'm doing, and I personally did it with my own portfolio. So just understand, I practice what I preach. I did it myself, and it's a way to buy the dip without actually putting any new money into the market, but it comes with massive amounts of risk. So I'll try to do my best to explain everything involved. And I'm also, towards the end of the video, going to be showing you guys the exact altcoins. So you get the altcoins, and I'm going to show you how to buy the dip without actually putting any more money into the market. Now, the majority of the video is going to be straight up Bitcoin. I'm looking at macroeconomic environments. I'm looking at what's happening on-chain metrics, specifically recent hacks, and what's basically everything that's going on. I try to take as much of it into consideration and make the big decision: is Bitcoin going to 100K? Because if I can make that decision, then everything else falls in line. So yeah. Can you do me a favor and fall in line and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, share it with a friend. If you're smart, turn on post notification bell. It's like the little bell thing. I'm sure you know where the bell thing is. Hit that, get the notifications for these videos, because some of them can be obviously time sensitive, and I want as many people to view these as possible. I try to keep things as down to earth. I back up everything with facts, okay? I try to give you guys my all. It's just the way it is. I don't really go on vacations that much. I do little things. Don't get me wrong. I'm a normal human being. But I will say that I try to keep things as conservative as possible, okay? So if we come over here, there's just one quick quote I want to go over with you guys. It's not even a quote. It's a principle. It's a mathematical principle. It's called the law of averages, okay? The principle that supposes most future events are likely to balance any past deviations from a presumed average. So in simple terms, just to explain it in plain English, the law of averages basically states to me, and how I live my life and how I run my business and how I manage my portfolio, as long as you feel like the general trend is correct, if the average, right, and I think, the average price of Bitcoin should be around 70 to 100K, then if you keep making bets on that, eventually, it will play out in a very positive way. And this is where dollar cost averaging helps with volatility. If we think the market's going to 70, 100K, well, if you just keep trying, right? If you just keep trying and stay in the market, and finding ways to buy the dip, go sell something in your house. I used to do this all the time. If the market dips more, don't be surprised if I go in my garage, even though I can afford it. It's already paid off. It's already paid off. Even though I can afford it, you guys saw the video. I made money off my Tesla. I made a lot of money off my Tesla. I could just sell that. I'll buy the dip, sell that. You look, it's investment. Everything's liquid to me. Okay. So, I wouldn't do anything that ruins your financial stability. I'll always have a savings. I have a family to take care of course. But you guys know I move with conviction. And I do believe 70 to 100K is not out of the question. And like I said, I'm basically like more than 100% of the market in. And then, there's this little trick I'm going to show you guys. But let's look at some of the macro conditions. So if we come over here, basically the gist is I don't want to read these articles. I know it's really boring. And I know, you guys want to talk about more cryptocurrency. So I'm just going to get straight to the point. Basically, Jerome Powell is pivoting away from a really aggressive stimulus, right? Basically, he's being more agile, as you can see here. And he's even gone to as far as kind of remaking the definition of transitory. So as you can see here, Powell told US lawmakers last week it is time to retire the Fed's description of high inflation as transitory. So what he's basically saying is that high inflation is not temporary. It can happen for long periods of time. So we can see the shakiness in the Federal Reserve, and we can see that they're having issues. And this kind of sums it up the best here without, going crazy into specifics. If you can see, there's a couple of areas, that are really, really catastrophically bad for everybody in the world. Okay. That's number one. Inflation is obviously a massive issue that they've been trying to hide for a long period of time. Okay. Hyperinflation, they just said, is non-transitory. Not only that, but, yields don't look too promising as well because of purchasing power, right? Losing purchasing power as well as inflation. Putting your money in a bond or something like that is not really favorable. So if we kind of read over here, this is kind of just the gist, right? Spend your cash on government bonds and watch its purchasing power melt. It's not really safe in government bonds, right? Spend your cash in high yield debt and risk losing it all given a weak global economic situation. So you can lose everything if you invest into some high yield debt, okay? Spend your cash on stocks at record high evaluations. So it's literally all stocks are at record high evaluations. You could buy into the hype of the high, right? Or you can invest in new world Bitcoin and digital assets. So again, as a person with a lot, I'm not super ultra rich. I'm like, I would say above average. I don't have anywhere to put my money is what I'm saying. There's nothing else. If you analyze all markets and you're looking at it from a realistic perspective, this is still the best bet, the most asymmetrical bet, the one that has the most potential for upside is cryptocurrency. And this is like a very powerful, I know you guys know it, right? You've been involved with cryptocurrency for so long. A lot of you watching my videos, I know you guys understand it because it's probably all you watch, right? You're watching crypto videos. But believe it or not, there's people out there really smart and they watch all markets, right? And they have a lot of money that they're either managing them, for themselves or some type of firm, right? So they look at other options. I know a lot of you don't, right? You just stay in crypto, which is smart. I stay in crypto too. Okay. But I would say that there's a lot of people with money that are weighing these pros and cons out, right? They're weighing these pros and cons out. So I'm not saying the whole world coming down is a good thing for Bitcoin. What I'm saying is that cryptocurrency has the best chance of rebounding, similar to what happened with the Black Swan event, right? We had this whole Black Swan event. I'm not going to say the name because of YouTube. And basically all the markets plummeted. And which one came back the quickest? Cryptocurrency, right? So again, still in today's climate, the best thing to invest in is cryptocurrency, in my personal opinion, and I'm standing by that. But just to add to it, you can see energy volatility all over the world. You see supply chain issues, as well as you can see here some issues with new orders from German manufacturers. And I know this because I just got my girl Genesis, and we were going to get a German car and they were all super expensive or out of stock. So literally we see things happening all over the world with manufacturing, labor shortages, right? These are the side effects of a fragile economy, right? Labor shortages. Here's another confirmation, right? Job growth disappoints in November, right? So you see this all over. And I think this is probably the root cause, what we're looking at here. And it's basically just the two metrics, right? Labor shortages or unemployment and inflation, right? Now, this is a different type of website. This is called shadowstats.com. And basically, there's a reported inflation number that they feed us. And I think a lot of people are wisening up and understanding, how they report inflation. The headline inflation is called the Consumer Price Index. And here's just an alternative way to show you how to calculate it based on, what they specifically used to do back in the day. So in 1990s, if we calculated inflation the same way, we'd be sitting at 10%. Right now, they're reporting about 6.2, 6.3%. Same thing with if we based it on the 1980s model. If we based on the CPI in the 1980s, we'd be at 15% inflation. Now, the interesting part is these models were used in the Federal Reserve, and they changed. They changed them, in 1980 and 1990. And the important part to understand about it is the reason why they changed it. You can clearly see in the report, and you can go read it for yourself, that the reason why they changed the CPI is to keep up with Social Security liabilities. Basically, Social Security uses the CPI to pay people their Social Security, and the burden was too high. So they lowered the inflation metric, the headline inflation metric that everybody makes their purchase decisions off. They lowered that on purpose to keep up with them paying Social Security. So essentially, they didn't lower it to make it more accurate, right? They lowered it to lower the burden. And it's scary, but inflation's much higher than what they're reporting. And I think a lot of people are wisening up, and this is a massive problem. This is like catastrophic consequences. I mean, there's really nothing else to invest in. Look at gold. I mean, it's like a 0.02% on the year. There's nothing else to invest in. This is it, right? This is our, move into digital assets with this horrible economic environment. If we look a little bit deeper as well, we have some more stats, and there's all types of stats. I'm not trying to go into every single one, but you could see that they have an alternative way, and I don't know exactly how they calculated this in the background. I got to do a little bit more reading on that, but they have an alternative way of calculating unemployment rate, and you can see that it looks like it's much higher than what they're reporting. Official, broadest shadow stats. Now, again, if it's anything like the way they calculated CPI, I trust it. I'll dive a little bit deeper. You guys can go look into it for yourself. Just Google search shadowstatistics.com. But yeah, I mean, in general, macro environment still looks nice for Bitcoin success. It still looks like the best option, regardless of what's happening in the cycle of Bitcoin and how we could have maybe a potential prolonged cycle. Maybe it's not a prolonged cycle, but I think still the best place to invest. And there's a couple of other issues that happen in cryptocurrencies that I briefly wanted to go over. I don't think it's the real, I guess, reason why the market's dumping at all. It's definitely a macro environment, but we have a couple of hacks, 150 million hack from Bitmart. We have Solana. It didn't get hacked, but we have all these issues, 27 million in an hour. Celsius got hacked as well with Badger DAO. Badger DAO was a big one. So these, of course, have negative consequences. They're going to scare people that don't understand it. And maybe it did have a little, catalyst and the reason why all of cryptocurrency is doing pretty bad right now. But let's look into a little bit more. Let's look a little bit deeper. And I think this is a really important way to make your decision, is kind of think of it in worst case scenario. So if we look at Bitcoin's price, you can see that we had this like super long red day. I mean, look at this wick. This shows signs of weakness. So right here, I'm like, okay, it's probably a smart time to buy. But then we still have this kind of red day here, which brought a lot of the altcoins down. Okay. Now, again, I still believe we're going to 100K, even though we broke out of this, right? I still think that we're on track to go to 100K. And regardless, even if it doesn't, right? Even if Bitcoin doesn't go 100K, let's say this is the end of the market cycle, which let's say we just go down from here. Okay. That's really important to make your decisions based on worst case scenario. So let's say the market's over. Well, it's actually not a bad thing for me specifically, because if I pull this up right here, we potentially just started an altcoin season, a massive altcoin season. And let me back that up with evidence. So if we look at the Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart, you could see, and I pointed this out in my video before it happened, guys, but you could see that we kind of broke out fairly aggressive out of the top here. And it looks like we're going to probably make some support. And this is the Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart. So when this goes up, that means Ethereum is doing better than Bitcoin. So the narrative of utility, the narrative that a lot of people are moving into, Ethereum's the narrative of utility. Bitcoin's the narrative of money, right? So we have historically seen, big little altcoin pushes towards the end of, the last bull run, for example. So I can kind of back that up a little bit. So if we come over here, you can see the BLX. We have two dates, right? We have the top of Bitcoin's price, and then we have the top of the altcoin cycle. So look at the top of Bitcoin's price. If we come back over here, we can see those same dates right here. So this was the top of Bitcoin's price. And what we're looking at here is the top 100 altcoins versus Bitcoin dominance. This is the top 100 altcoins versus Bitcoin. So this is kind of like altcoin cycle. Not only that, but before that, altcoins made a big rally, as you can see there, 81%. And then it popped up another 40% or so. So even if this is the end of Bitcoin, we should still see a big like altcoin push. We could see that happening here, right? Top 100 altcoins versus Bitcoin dominance. This is an ascending triangle. This is a bullish continuation pattern. So it's likely to do exactly what it did here. You can see 1, 2, right? 2, 3, 4, right? So from a technical analysis perspective, we should get a breakout. It might take longer than expected though. Doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. If we look at it again, and I want to stress this harder and harder, ETH versus BTC, these were all altcoin cycles. Right here was an altcoin cycle. This was an altcoin cycle. This is an indicator for me. I called it over here. We've been talking about this for a while. I called it over here, right? We have this nice little altcoin cycle. Now I'm telling you guys again, it's very likely that we at least get up to here, which is a 45% jump. And that's a massive jump for altcoins, right? So if you're buying a dip, pay attention to what I'm talking about. Don't buy Bitcoin. Don't buy the dip with Bitcoin because, if this is the end of the market, it's the end of the market, right? If it's not the end of the market, we're going to have an altcoin cycle eventually. If it is the end of the market, we're going to have an altcoin cycle. So it's really smart, I think, personally, to get into altcoins right now in the specific time. Okay. One more thing I did want to point out too is I'm watching this very closely from Cardano lovers. We're going to have this jump in Cardano's price. It's probably going to get down a little bit more, just a little bit more. ETH is probably going to outcompete it a little bit more. And what we're looking at is ADA versus ETH. So when this chart goes up, ADA is doing better than ETH. I think we may have like a 10% loss on ETH. And then once it, gets to a certain point, there might be a time where I make a super aggressive buy call. Like I'll probably put like maybe 50% of all my ETH into Cardano or something like that. Because as you can see, Cardano, can outcompete ETH by 171% to get to the last all-time high. And in Q1, they're coming out smart contracts, and it's one of the biggest communities. Cardano's huge, so just leading up to the event, it's going to be pretty big. Okay, so I broke down a lot of different situations. Let me just recap right now so you don't get lost. Very simply put, if it is the end of the market, we're going to have an altcoin push. Okay, so if you're going to buy the dip, it's probably smarter to buy maybe some safe altcoins. Safe altcoins. Talk about some more towards the end of the video. Now, if the market does continue, we're going to have another altcoin push. Regardless, the ETH narrative is huge, and we can see it playing out. There's a lot of money going in. So regardless, we're definitely going to have an altcoin push. So I think it's safer to get into the, safe altcoins and stuff like that. So altcoin season potentially happening. Let's look at some on-chain metrics to see if the top is in for Bitcoin. So what we're looking at here is entity adjusted STH Nupal. So basically, I just want to make it very simple for everybody because as you can see, I have a lot of charts here, but very simple. The top signal like a blue or green, right? We're in a red. Okay. Now, very red. Now, you could argue that this was almost green and maybe that this time we're not going to see green, but I would say that's unlikely. We are in the red right now. So this is basically saying a capitulation. Every single time if you would have bought a capitulation, you would have probably made money, except for around here, right? But definitely this is supposed to indicate the bottoms and tops. And I would say that we haven't even indicated the top yet. So pay attention to that. On-chain metrics look bullish. Also, hodler net position change. You could see they're increasing, right? So hodlers are increasing their positions until recently they have this small sell-off. But look, we're on a gradual trend, I believe, with increasing positions. We see that pretty much everywhere. Liquid and illiquid supply. Again, you can see a trend down with the liquid supply, right? So if it's liquid, it can be moved or transferred easily. And we see a trend up with the illiquid supply, which makes it so that Bitcoin's locked away, an illiquid, right? Probably going to be held for longer periods of time, okay? If we continue, again, we have another multiple, okay? And in this case, they try to call the tops as well. When it's in the red, you can see it's likely a top. We're not even close to in the red. Okay. We're kind of in the middle somewhere. So this kind of adds to the case of 100K BTC, right? We're kind of like halfway. Okay. If we look at long-term holder MVRV, again, something similar. This is supposed to help you call the tops. We're not even close to red. Very, very simple, guys. Very simple. If we continue, same thing, entity adjusted Nupal. So we're seeing it from different perspectives. I don't want to go into the details because people will get lost. But you can see right here, again, we haven't even spiked blue. Okay. So we're in optimism anxiety phase right now. So again, we just have, this is an indicator to show the tops, right? Exchange net position on all exchanges. You could see they're taking money off of exchanges, right? Exchange net position change on all exchanges. Bitcoin is coming off. So the supply is less liquid, right? Kind of what we were talking about before. If we look at right here, again, another new pull, right? Same thing, right? These are all flashing bullish, right? If we look at realized loss, this is flashing a little bit bearish, just to be honest. A lot of people are realizing losses right now and selling at a loss. So once we see that die down, we should see something a little bit positive. If we look at the market value to realized value ratio, you could see that we are not overvalued. You can clearly see when there's huge spikes like this, the price tends to dump. We haven't seen a spike like this at all. We saw a spike here, but we haven't seen anything higher than that. And we should definitely see something higher than that. When it comes to specifically calling the top there, we have the MVRVZ ratio looking, okay, we looked at some of these multiple times. You can see they're just different perspectives. If we look at the stock to flow ratio, we haven't really gotten over this line. I've talked about this a couple of times. If you're new to it, it's basically just a way to rate Bitcoin based off of his stock. And a lot of people are just saying we're in an extended cycle. We're in an extended cycle, which I tend to agree with. I think it's going to be, a little bit longer than before because there's more catalysts now. Like Bitcoin was the catalyst in the past, like just the halving events. Now I think there's huge institutions jumping in, and it's starting to become a catalyst when it comes to actual holdings of companies, as you can see here. MicroStrategy, Tesla, I think there's a huge catalyst right there. I also think that the utility thing, right, of Ethereum layer ones and a lot of these altcoins, NFTs, these are other catalysts that came in that we previously did not have in Bitcoin's price. So the fact that we have all of this other demand coming in out of nowhere adds to the fact that we're going to have a longer cycle. The law of diminishing returns, it should take longer this time. For sure, it's going to be an extended cycle. I'm pretty confident about that. So in general, macro environment looks bullish. Even if we go into a full-on bear run, it's still smart to buy altcoins right now. It's potential altcoin season. On-chain metrics look fairly bullish, probably more bullish than I've ever seen. So let's talk about very, very quickly what altcoins I'm potentially jumping into. I'll tell you the ones I already bought. It's pretty boring, but KDA, it lost a lot. I haven't bought it yet, but I might buy some KDA. This is a layer one. Erratics or Radix, they're basically the same thing. This is another situation where I might have to buy some because it's a layer one. I've been DCAing pretty hard on that. I'm down a lot on Radix. Harmony One is something else that I'm looking at as a layer one to buy. I'm probably going to DCA on that a little bit more. That's another layer one. The layer ones are very simple, right? You don't want to buy altcoin with $100 million market cap in this very big dip. You want to buy things that are going to come back. Gala did pump a lot, but I still think it's very undervalued in comparison to how many new games it's going to come out. I think it's still undervalued, and it dipped the most out of a lot of coins. So I like to get them at discount, right? So 18% off, definitely more than that. Phantom, I've been dollar cost averaging. I've made a lot of money on Gala and Phantom, and I will continue to dollar cost average. So these coins, you don't need to get crazy. You don't need to talk about 1,000 different altcoins, especially times like this. You just need to take a deep breath, be conservative, buy the coins are going to work, right? This is important. And just sleep good, right? Don't mess up your decision-making process. Don't do anything like irrational. And just to kind of come in with the last one, UFO Gaming was something that I'm very interested in. And I think it's very undervalued still as well. This is probably the riskiest out of all of them. $500 million market cap. It lost a lot of value, but I'm still up like crazy on it. And I want to buy more. So yeah, I bought some more of this as well. Just to go through it really quickly. I did not buy KDNA. I'm probably buy in the future. I bought a little bit of Radix. I didn't buy Harmony One. I didn't buy Gala. I bought Gala yesterday. I bought Phantom, yes, and I bought UFO Gaming. All right. So those are what I bought today. Now let's talk very briefly. And my goal is not to give you a complete tutorial because I know a lot of people are going to do things they do not understand. So let me just be very clear with you guys. If you don't know how to invest in cryptocurrency, if you've been in this market for less than 3 months, I do not recommend this. Okay. I've been trading for a while and you understand what a decentralized liquidity pool is, if you understand how to use Uniswap and you've been doing some decentralized, trading, maybe it might be smart for you. But this is what I did. So if we come over here to this app, it's called liquidity.org and it's pretty legit. I've looked into it pretty deep. You can see the total value locked is 2.6 billion. Basically what this is borrow LUSD against ETH at 0% interest. So you guys know I have a lot of Ethereum. So What I did is I borrowed against it and I bought more. So this is how I bought the dip, right? So you don't even need to put more money in all the time. Now, again, I want to be very clear, very risky. There's smart contract risk. There's economic attack risk. There's all types of issues that can come up. You can get liquidated if you don't know what you're doing. So this is not free money and you have to pay a fee. So this is not free money in any way, shape, or form. Okay. This is you taking on a little bit of extra smart contract risk so that you can buy more. That's basically what it is. So if we come over here, you can see there's a couple of interfaces. You can come to liquidity.app. And by the way, guys, if you want a complete breakdown of how I did it, I'm not going to break it down because I know people are going to make some stupid decisions. You can go to the fundamental secrets. I did it there in a more detailed fashion for a reason. But in this case, I'm briefly going to show you. So as you can see here, I actually have it up right here. I have a trove of 37 ETH and I took out $65,000. So I took out $65,000 and now I have $65,000 to buy the dip. And that's what I bought with, that's how I bought these altcoins, right? I literally took this. I got LUSD, swapped the LUSD on Uniswap to ETH, and then bought the dip with that ETH, okay? Now, if you look at it, you can see that I have a liquidation price, okay? So basically, if the price of Ethereum gets to 2,600, then they might liquidate me and take all of my cryptocurrency. So you could add some more to that, to increase the collateral ratio. Basically, the more money you have in here, or the less debt you take out, or the ratio being higher, the safer it is from you getting liquidated. If you don't understand any of this, just run for the hills. Don't listen to what I'm saying. But I'm just showing you what I did. So I took 37 ETH. I took $65,000 out and I bought the dip with $65,000. And my goal for this is to do it very, very quick. I'm not going to hold onto this trove for a long period of time. My goal is to make profit, sell it, and then get out of this trove. Okay. So I can use it for other dips if I have to in the future. And the beauty of this is that there is no lockup period. So you can take it out anytime you want. So there you go. I bought the dip with $65,000 and I could do this again. I have a lot more ETH just sitting there. I could do this, with another like 500 or 400,000 ETH if I wanted to. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Stay calm and collected. Take your health into consideration. Get outside. Definitely take a fresh breath of air. Okay. It's not the end of the world. Hopefully you can figure out a way to buy the dip, whether that's selling things in your house, doing something like this. This is not financial advice, but it's what I did. Buy some altcoins. Please don't buy Bitcoin. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. If you like the quality of this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism. Subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, if you don't get with it, you will get left behind. Thanks for watching this, guys. Catch you in the next one.